everyone, this is Danny Hidalgo. Welcome to another one of my vlogs. Yes, I am aware that my hair is different and that I'm breaking out. Ew. I made a video about like 2 or 3 weeks ago where it was like my first ever vlog that I did completely in Spanish. If you didn't see that video and you're interested at all in seeing it, I'll leave a link below. I got a lot of people after seeing that video, for people who spoke Spanish and watched that video, a lot of people were curious as to where my accent was from and like how I learned Spanish, because a lot of them had said that, you know, my accent was a little bit like, you know, they couldn't really tell where I was from. I thought that I would use this time to kind of like clear that up and to explain how I learned Spanish. When I was 14, my mom went through a really bad divorce from a man that she had been married to for 2 years, and so she kind of wanted a fresh start, and I guess at the time the only way she felt like we could do that was to move to Puerto Rico, where all of my like close family, I guess, was at the time. My grandma lived there, my aunt lived there, my cousins, a lot of people. We had a lot of people that lived there, and so my mother thought that it would be the best thing to move me and my sister with her to Puerto Rico. At the time, I didn't speak any Spanish at all. Like I said, I knew a few select phrases, but like in terms of speaking, the only thing I knew how to say was like, hola, ¿cómo estás? My nombre is Daniel. Now, I was kind of lucky in the sense that I did have a cousin who was in my same grade, Candace, who I went to school with, and she really helped me. She was basically like my first friend when I was there. She helped me a lot with the whole like language barrier thing. On my first day of school, I remember sitting down in the class and the teacher started talking and giving class, and I literally remember looking at my cousin like, I don't understand what she's saying. And I actually think that that helped me. I feel like had I gone to like a school in Puerto Rico, like an English school, or a school where it was like half and half or something like that, maybe I would not have felt the need as much to learn Spanish. But I was in a school that they said that they were a bilingual school. That's not true. We had one class in English, which was English class, but everything else was in Spanish. All the kids spoke Spanish. So I remember thinking at 14 years old, if I want to pass high school, I need to learn Spanish. And not just pass high school, if I want to make friends, if I want to just be able to, you know, socialize with my classmates. So I definitely felt from then on, I have to learn this language and I have to learn it fast. So how did I go about doing that? Well, first things first, I had a few friends who spoke English, and I can say almost for sure that I annoyed the shit out of them, because literally every time that I didn't understand something, they would sit right next to me in class because they were trying to help me, and I'd be like, what did the teacher just say? What's this mean? What do they mean when they say that? Oh, does that mean that? Oh no, so then what does it mean? Most of the time it would stay in my head. Of course, sometimes I had to ask again. I was just consistently asking. Second thing that I did, I had a friend in school that was bilingual, and he became bilingual later on, so he actually also wasn't raised speaking Spanish, and I asked him what would be a good way for me to learn Spanish fast, and he said that he just thought I should completely delve myself in the culture, and that's what I did, in the sense that I started listening to Spanish music all the time. I started watching Spanish films. I started like watching actually Spanish telenovelas. Another big thing that helped me a lot was that I wasn't afraid to try and speak the language. The biggest thing that I see with people who are trying to learn different languages is that they constantly are afraid to speak it because they're afraid that they're gonna sound stupid. I wasn't afraid to sound stupid, if I'm being completely honest. I was like, you know what? I may sound stupid now, but I knew that if I kept at it, I would learn and I would get better and I would get better, and that I wouldn't sound stupid in the future. So every opportunity that I got, like to speak to my teachers or to try to speak to a fellow classmate of mine who maybe didn't speak English very well, I would try my best to speak Spanish with them. And it definitely, I mean, I definitely sounded really dumb in the beginning. I remember in the first few days of class, I would try to like speak to classmates of mine that maybe didn't speak English. And I would just say tons of things like, ¿Dónde es que comemos lonche? ¿Dónde están los mejores países en Puerto Rico para ir a tener un poco de fun? And pretty much 99% of the time, if they wouldn't go into complete hysterics laughing at me and making fun of me after that, they would like look at the friend next to them and be like, ¿Qué carajo este tipo está tratando de decirme, puñeta? It was definitely embarrassing, but I will say that, you know, I did notice that I've started to very quickly get better at the language, and then just little by little I became fluent. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, if you learn Spanish in Puerto Rico, then how is it that you don't speak Spanish like a Puerto Rican? I will explain. While it is true that I did learn the Spanish language in Puerto Rico, I lived in Puerto Rico for 6 years. So in Puerto Rico, I was surrounded by Puerto Ricans, of course. But I moved to New York City So now all of my friends that I started to speak Spanish with were not just from Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Spain, Bolivia, Argentina, Chile, Mexico, Cuba, Paraguay, Costa Rica, from everywhere. So I think that's what it is. I don't know, I don't really think too much about it, but a lot of people ask. So it's kind of made me like wonder, yeah, why has my accent turned so, you know. So that's that. I just thought I'd clear that up. Because a lot of people have been asking me where my Spanish came from, where my accent comes from, and how I learned. And I thought that maybe that would be just like a fun little story to help you guys get to know me a little better. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. So I may not sound like I'm from the island, but I promise you I am so incredibly proud of my roots, as you should be too. So thank you guys so much for taking the time out to watch this video and let me explain that to you. So I'll have a new video up next week for sure. And if any of my viewers are fluent Spanish speakers, muchas gracias por ver este video y espero que les gustó. And I will see you guys next week. Adios.